Hey, welcome to day 62 of my little 1000 Days of Music project where I review a piece of music every single day. And today, as I promised yesterday, we have Aphex Twin with Come to Daddy, which is a very interesting album name. Well, technically it's an EP, not an album, but still. All because yesterday, as you may know, I was listening to Dillinger Escape Plan, an EP made by them with the frontman of Faith No More, and they made a cover of Come to Daddy, which is, the self-titled song of this EP. And I can understand why they did, because it sounds like fucking noise. The song Come to Daddy just sounds like fucking noise, straight up. And it's an interesting noise. Just like yesterday, it's an interesting noise. Ironically, though, comparing both covers, or comparing the original and the cover, can you call it a cover? Because I don't even, I mean, technically it's a cover, but it certainly doesn't sound like one, which is very interesting, because this entire EP has 8 songs. 3 of them are Come to Daddy. One is the original, and the other 2 are mixes. The mixes do not sound like the original, especially the second version does not sound like the original. Like, the fact that those are covers, or I guess mixes of the original, is very weird, because they don't have much to do with the original, I can tell you that much, right? So yeah, this entire EP was very interesting to me, because yes, the entry Come to Daddy is just fucking noise, interesting noise, but noise nonetheless. And there's a lot of distortion going on. There's a lot of just weird rhythms and whatnot, the likes. And then the second song of the EP is called Flim, which is not noise. It's the opposite, I would argue. It's pretty much this drum and bass inspired thing where it's like you have the drums, right, and then you just have a pretty, I don't want to call it simple melody, but it's very stripped down. It don't have a lot of stuff going on, and that's pretty much the song, and it sounds fucking amazing. Like, when I obviously being on the internet and everything, and listening to a lot of music and everything, I always heard people being like, oh, like Aphex Twin is so good and it's so amazing and whatnot, and the music is so good, and I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And I never really paid that much attention, because I'm usually in my lane, I listen to my own things, and I don't like to intrude on other people's music, what they're listening to, and telling them if it's good or bad or whatever, right? They like what they like, I like what I like, that's pretty much it. And then I listened to this song and I was like, oh, I get it. I get why people enjoy Aphex Twin so much, because this song is so good. Despite how simple it is, it's really good. It sounds very interesting, it sounds very intimate, it sounds very sweet. It sounds like, it's caressing your sound holes. It sounds like just a little dessert dissolving in your mouth, just a perfect amount of sweet, I don't know, it sounds really just, I don't know, I don't have much words to describe it, because it's that experience. I think I understand why people actually enjoy these artists so much, because if these are and that's another thing, because I was looking at the EP, and when the EP was put out, right, and essentially this was released a couple of years ago, and by a couple of years ago I mean in 1997, meaning this EP is older than me, and it sounds so good, right? Like, even all of the distortion sounds in Come to Daddy and everything, it sounds modern. A lot of the sounds sound very clean, and they're very interesting. There's stuff that usually don't listen to a lot in other albums and everything, and in EDM, it's just very interesting to witness an album that at this point is 28 years old. And wait, is it 28 years old at this point? Okay, not quite, but almost 28 years old, and just have these clean off sounds, right? Or you know, I can't even speak anymore. Like that's how starstruck I am by this entire thing. But it's super clean, and the structure is super interesting. Again, really, like you could present this to someone and say, oh, you know, like check out this, you know, really cool new album or really cool new EP, and they'd be like, oh, you know, like yeah, that's very interesting. You know, there's a lot of interesting sounds going on. Not realizing that this is like almost fucking 30 years old. It's actually insanely good how aged this is, right? Like as far as aging goes, this is on the end of the spectrum of this didn't age a day. Like there's no aging here. The fact that the fact that this person could make these sounds back then, I'm impressed. I'm genuinely impressed. Like it's honestly like, okay, sure, I don't know like what it entails to make music and everything, much less back then, but I'm genuinely impressed because I've listened to a lot of like 80s and 90s EDM and everything. They don't sound like this. I can tell you that much. They do not sound like this. So I think I understand why people perceive or at least talk so much about Aphex Twin being so good, because it is good, right? Now, obviously, I've only you know covered pretty much 2 songs in the album because or I guess the EP, sorry, the EP does have 8 songs. Again, as I mentioned, it does have 2 pretty much covers of the original that don't sound like the original. They sound way more clean and way more grounded. There's way less distortion going on and everything. And then we have a song that actually I found it really interesting, which was Bucephalus Bouncing Ball, which sounds like a bouncing ball, and I was reading about it, and apparently it was recorded by code, like using code and a bouncing ball, and it's engaging, that's all I'm going to say. I think, you know, again, I don't know, like, again, this album came out in 97, it's like, I know it's experimental a lot and whatnot, but I didn't, you know, I didn't expect to be this ahead of its time, because it is, right? And then you have the 2 other songs, which are, I mean, you have 3 other songs, To Cure a Weakling Child and Funny Little Man, which are, you know, a bit more toned down, or a bit more on the style of Flim, I would say, although you do have a little bit more of the Come to Daddy style. Come to Daddy is actually a very, like, out-of-place song in this EP. I know that there's some, I guess, quote-unquote noise that Aphex Twin does have, but I did not imagine the contrast between most songs being actually quite chill and more on the atmospheric side, even if they're not completely, and the original self-titled song just being fucking creepy ass noise, right? Which actually, and that's the funny thing, the 2 mixes, especially the second mix of Come to Daddy, the Mummy mix, is actually a really nice song. You know, like if you listen to that, you're like, oh, actually Come to Daddy is a really, really nice song. But yeah, the original is just noise. Again, it's interesting noise, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying it like, oh, it's noise, it's worthless. No, it's like, it's interesting noise, right? And that's why I'm so fascinated about this entire thing, because it's like, you know, it's very hard for you to make shit that is so distorted sound so interesting, you know, and in a way so modern, right? So I'm very impressed. And then you have the last song, IZUS, so Is Us, I guess, which is more on the registry of Flim. Also, you know, this sort of very toned down, atmospheric, more vibe to it all, with a little bit of a drum and bass style drums or drum machine, and I mean, yeah, that's again, it's honestly, I've never like heard anything. I've heard a lot of stuff that is like good and everything that surprises me, but I've never heard anything that quite leaves me so starstruck to the point where I struggle to actually describe what it is and how I feel about it, right? Because and from a positive perspective, because I'm sitting here like, this was super interesting. And like now I kind of want to go back to Window Liquor, because I was like, I listened to that EP and I was like, oh, yeah, it sounds nice, whatever, but it's not like that big of a deal. But now I'm like, wait, did I miss something? Because now I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Because this to me was sort of an awakening experience, because I'm sitting here like, and again, like Flame has been on repeat for hours now. Like, it's unbelievably good. Like it's a new experience for me. I think it's a forming experience. Yeah. I mean that's definitely gonna go into my playlist and everything. And I'm just very impressed with everything. And I will probably go listen to Window Liquor again, because I'm like, wait, did I miss something? So yeah, I mean, as far as my vibe meter is. My vibe meter is telling me a strong 9 out of 10. It's again, I'm just I'm so interested in the fucking thing, and honestly, I wish like I actually had the words to sort of express how I feel about everything, but I kind of just want to keep listening to the songs and not say a word. So yeah, but that's it for today, and I'll see you tomorrow with probably something new that I haven't covered before, and yeah, I mean. Yeah, I'm just gonna go.